Hey, welcome to Real Talk, episode 118. I'm Todd, this is AJ, and we're back.
Listen up, folks. We're about to get down with some real serious stuff. I'm excited. Wasn't expecting that, were you?
I don't know why I froze.
You didn't expect it, probably.
Just now I froze, and I went to a different place. Did anyone notice that pause that I did?
Probably. I didn't because I was looking at the camera, but...
Anyway, yeah, I'm excited to be here, guys. I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking about. You know
Okay.
what? This is Real Talk.
I love it. Let's do it.
So,
Let's dive
typically, the guys know this if you're watching or listening, but the crew, we do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 count and then jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, typically, I'm pretty good at like understanding there needs to be a pause before the one and the jumping in so that you and the team has time to cut this at the appropriate place. I don't think I did. I think you're going to have a tough time. I think I went right from one to,
We'll figure it out.
So, and then I was going, oh, should I do it again? And then we were already in. So, huh?
Good luck.
Yeah. So that was the reason why. But hey, we're back. First week after we stopped, no Real Talk Live this week. We feel a little weird about it.
Yeah, a little funky.
Yeah, how you feling about it? Have you thought about it at all since then?
I've had glimpses of I can't speak. Glimpses. I've had glimpses of thinking about like, oh man, like what are we gonna do? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's not happening. Mm-hmm. So that's weird. And I've had like just random like memories kind of pop in my head of like, stuff we did. I know on that last episode we put out that we kind of discussed our favorite memories and just, I don't know, man. It's interesting. I'm excited though. Like truly, I know that I'm not always the best at like conveying that I'm excited about like what's to come because I get so nervous about the future and, failing and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I truly am excited about, having different opportunities to do stuff, new things for you guys, as far as social media and being able to release different content. Real Talk Live was so fruitful in so many ways, and for it to be gone, it is sad, but it's also exciting because kind of like what I said on that last episode, it's just a new chapter, turning the page, and I don't know, I'm excited still.
Yeah, me too. I had a thought. You already shared this with you. The human thought in me is, this is the thing. Pastor, right? I'm not supposed to say things.
Okay.
Because apparently I'm not allowed to be a human. But, the human side of me says, we've had a lot of people, I shouldn't say that. There are people who take what we do and they try to replicate it and they don't talk to us about it, right? Mm-hmm. There was a group that kind of tried to do their own Real Talk Live one time, and I think they did it once and stopped because first of all, it's a lot of work. Secondly, it can be discouraging if you don't understand. You're not going to start with 100,000 views.
Right.
But I'm like, you know what? People are going to take this because I still believe in the concept of Real Talk Live, and that it was a great idea. Mm-hmm. And I keep saying somebody's going to do it, and they're going to do it either better or they're going to blow up, and we're going to go
There was, yep.
But I think, man, when I look back, particularly that first year, we just grew at an astronomical rate.
Oh, it was insane, man.
All the way really till COVID. I mean, COVID really. There's social media. I know people don't believe this. I'm so tired of talking about like conspiracy theories. Yeah. Social media did change during COVID.
Absolutely.
You can look this up. This is a fact. This is a nonpartisan issue, okay, or a bipartisan, however you want to say it politically. Social media, both sides are concerned about the power that social media has because it does control the flow of information.
Yes.
And so,
perfectly put it.
There's just it changed things, and it was tough to overcome. And the only real way you can do that is by, in my opinion, kind of becoming very vanilla. So that, or you know what I'm saying? Like vanilla in the sense of like, okay, we'll let this pass and everybody's cool. Because everyone loves love, right? Even in Christianity, let's talk about love. Everybody loves that.
Right.
It's the hard stuff where you start having questions about, the things that mainstream media and culture doesn't like about our faith, that kind of slows it down. They don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's either that, so kind of become vanilla, or you become, I don't know, even kind of heretical. Or it's funny that I think we could probably do some stupid show where we just are ourselves, the fun side of us.
Yeah.
And we do crazy things and just talk about sex all the time and like women and, stuff like that. I mean, I could think, and this thing would blow up.
Drink booze.
Yeah, like have it on here and try different things. I mean, I believe 100% we get 1,000 views, and nobody would care. So anyway, I agree with you. It's weird, but I am excited, and I believe we're being faithful. And I think a lot. We have all the way home. We have a lot of cool ideas.
Yes,
that we are going to start doing.
You're right.
And hopefully this week even we're going to drop something. I don't know what it is, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, we've had ideas for a long time, and we've discussed. We've let people know, like, hey, we have ideas and stuff we're trying to do, and I think we're just around the corner now. Or honestly, we've turned that corner. Actually, in my opinion, of it's time to just do those things.
That's a good way to put it.
So I think that's where we're at. And as far as the social media thing, like you're right, man, it has changed. And if no one's noticed that, you're just choosing not to.
Yeah. We don't say that angrily. I mean, it's
No.
just the way things are right now.
Yeah, that's just the reality.
100%. And I did YouTube for a while, and even just looking at things, and I can tell you this much: everything is just so much different. It's not the same. Definitely, there was ways to get around algorithms and things like that before, but it has changed, and it is different. And there's, whether or not you want to believe it, there's things being censored and things on that, and that is how social media has always worked. They're just more upfront about it and more strict about it now.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's just
it's
more
harder to
it's
do
more
things on
known.
certain things.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think for everybody who's listening, and this is where when I say, even when it goes the other way, private business organizations have the right to dictate the terms of their usage. I believe that. The reality is, using Facebook as an example, because we're on, this podcast is on Facebook as a video.
Yeah.
We might put a lot more of our energy into podcast form.
Yeah,
maybe,
just podcasts. It's possible.
But in general, Facebook is one of the platforms we use, for instance.
Right.
YouTube as well. YouTube, really hard for us to get any traction.
Yeah.
But Facebook has the right to do that. I think for me, and this kind of goes with what Clint said, it is more in your face in the sense that there are reports coming out, but I think I'd rather just have Facebook's spokesman come out and say, XYZ, if you talk about this, you're not going to get as many views. Period.
Yeah,
because then people just know.
At least exactly.
Yeah.
At least they're just being honest about their platform, what they're wanting to do with it.
Yeah.
But instead, I think the frustration comes where they're trying to act like this is an open forum.
Yeah, I think that's my
that's
problem
not
with
true.
it too. Yeah, it's not completely open, and that's factual.
Yes. If you're looking for like an open forum, I don't even know if that's existent.
We're not even allowed to talk about this probably because I don't want to say this and then we get censored on Facebook. But there is a platform being worked on right now that is, I'll just say free, based around the idea of complete free speech.
Right.
Which I think is a cool concept. I think that's where, if we think about where social media initially came from, it was the idea of giving people a voice, which can be dangerous at times. I get that. But, there are platforms being worked on. Whether or not they gain any traction, we'll see. But that would be cool. And the thing about it is, man, what's disappointing too is the ones that are allowed to be posted. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Sometimes it does feel like it feels like only one side of the, I don't want to say moral, but I guess that's the way, or ideology is really censored. And that's the part that's kind of discouraging at times, I think, because you want to believe that if you're going to have a hard, and I think that's the problem. What is the line? We figured it out a little, right?
Right. It's blurry, and that's what I mean by like they claim it's an open forum when it isn't.
Yeah,
like they have boundaries.
But we just don't
drawn.
necessarily know what they are.
Exactly.
At least
they're like invisible boundaries that are drawn that we don't really know.
That's a good way to put it.
Well, yeah. YouTube has finally come out and said that there are things that will be censored. There are things that will be taken down. There are things that are against guidelines. And they really define those because there was a lawsuit that happened a few years ago.
Because of that?
Because
Really?
people were getting removed from searches or things like this. Fantastic guy. Not going to say his name because, again, may censor us.
Yeah.
But he's a fantastic guy, and he's dealing with it right now. and it's just something he has to live with because of the lawsuit. And the lawsuit happened, they fixed everything that they did, and then they changed. They actually came out, they changed the full thing for all creators, and we're just very straightforward with it. So YouTube's done that now and basically admitted that they may not be a fully open platform to everything and all views.
At least they're willing
and
to say
everything
it.
they do that.
Yeah.
But you do have places like Facebook who I don't know if they have. And
I don't
At
think
least,
they
at
have.
least publicly.
Yeah.
It's
And,
not publicly.
and we've seen, and to be, again, I want to be fair both sides. They put out a few things here and there about like we will, but they don't define the statements. So, for instance, let's just use a phrase that I think all of us would be against to a degree: hate speech.
Yeah.
What is that? Because like you think you know what it is, right? I mean, there's certain things that are very blatant. Okay, if
Yes,
that's what you're gonna say, but then it's like other things are labeled that, and we don't know what that is.
Yeah,
so
it's
like
very
we will not allow
subjective.
hate speech. What is that?
Yes. There's no like foundation for what hate speech is. It's all subjective. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and so sometimes that's the frustration. But like again, Facebook, we have reached a lot of people, and we all listen. We can say what we want about it, but we're all on it, and there's positives to it. I've always said that it does keep people connected. Do I think we've given it a lot of power? Yes. And you know what? Let's look at the other side of this for a second. We're sitting here talking about the platform, but let's just look at. And I'm not being negative. I think it's intriguing. I don't even know if I've ever talked to you about this. But we're sitting here saying we're blaming a lot of it on maybe algorithms and stuff, which is real.
Yeah.
But also, let's just be blunt about the types of media and content that people desire to consume.
That's true, man. It's not.
Let's just be honest.
It's usually not good.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, even believers and even within our own, people, our circle, a lot of our circle listen and watch, and a lot of people outside of it, but they don't, we not all our people watch this, listen to it.
It's true.
Our people, just meaning like our church, for instance, that sponsors this. And why? But they'll spend hours listening to, whatever that one podcast is about the girls that is super popular. You know what it is.
I'm not sure.
It's on Barstool Sports for the longest time.
Okay.
It's like the #1 podcast. Logan
Wow.
Paul and those guys talked about it. You remember?
I feel like I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what it's called.
Call Me Daddy.
There it is.
There are people that listen to that.
Yeah.
There are people that listen to, all kinds of things. But they don't really want to. And I think that's twofold. I think people in general don't like to think. I'm just being real, right? Because when we think, then we have to slow down. If we slow down, we get sad.
Yep, exactly. It leads to like a dark path, and people just don't want to face that.
So I don't know. Maybe
That's good. But yeah, man, I
what
think
it
you're
is.
right. Like, to me, like kind of what I said earlier, there is no, to me, it's very rare. Like, I don't think a truly open forum exists anymore. Even like, the places like
maybe
Reddit.
people don't want an open forum.
Maybe. Like,
They're human beings.
place like Reddit, people used to think that was like completely like that's open and that's you can do whatever on there. Like they've even gotten to a place where they're like, nope, we're removing stuff. Like
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, as long as they're open about it and like they're actually telling people that's their company. That's what they can do.
So I guess the challenge more is to, if people are listening, is like, what do you put your time into consuming?
Yeah.
In general, I think about that. You can't really blame media. Let's say if we're consuming it still.
Exactly.
I hate that kind of media, and yet you're consuming it.
Yep.
So
they're
it
not
is what
going
it
to stop
is.
because you are consuming it.
Yeah. Now to a lighter topic that needs to be addressed. For a moment there in the midst of this, everyone saw AJ, if you're watching the video, and perhaps in the podcast you heard him suck his finger for a second.
Yeah.
AJ's finger's bleeding profusely.
Yeah.
And why is that, AJ?
That's because I bite my nails and my
Well,
finger.
let's stop for a second, because this is important for the world to know. I bite my nails. You can look at my nails. It's a bad habit. I bite my nails, I suppose.
Yeah.
You don't just bite your nails.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm on a different level. I mean, I like eat my fingers. I mean,
Yeah, you chew your fingers.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm
And
sure
like-
you guys have watched. You've seen me do it so many times.
Now, we all have our ticks, man. I got mine too, and I bite mine. But, dude, his fingers, they're in bad shape right now. And
Oh, yeah.
And he wants to stop.
Look at that chunk.
He wants to stop chewing them, right? Like,
I
this
do.
causes you pain.
Yes, it hurts.
So,
My fingers are sensitive now.
So that's what happened. He's bleeding. I didn't want to stop, so I had to give him a tissue so he didn't
Yes.
spill blood
Thanks,
everywhere.
man. Appreciate
Problem,
it.
dude. I just want to make sure they saw it.
The best part is because I looked up and I went, oh.
Yeah, and then I heard you go.
Yep.
So that's what happened there. Everything's okay. It's under
Yeah.
control. We
Yep.
have clotting that's happening.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's stopped, essentially.
Guys, women, friends, countrymen, everyone around. You know, the podcast is what it is. It's a couple guys up to no good trying to start trouble in their neighborhood.
That's right.
Shout out to Fresh Prince.
Hey,
Excuse me.
if you ever listen.
Hey, Big Willie style. Why don't you come on the show? We invite Will Smith. You're invited. You're invited on the show.
Come on the show, Will.
Justin Bieber. You're invited on the show. If this somehow gets to you guys, hey, we'd love to chat with you. I know what
Absolutely.
you're thinking. You two are nobodies. We don't have it. Let me tell you something. If you come on our show, I promise you this, you're going to get publicity because they're going to go, why are they on the show with these two guys that no one knows? Right? Am I wrong? They're going to say, I'm going to give you the headline. Will Smith does small podcast with no following. Right? That's what's going to happen. So, or Justin Bieber slums it with two guys that are up to no good. You know what? So, hey guys, come join us. But we also had people
Loves it with two guys.
we did have people reach out to us. We got to get going on that. But
Yeah, man.
I got off on a tangent as usual.
It was fun.
We you're invited, Big Willie and Beebs.
JB.
So, here's the thing. The show has went in a couple different directions. So today we do have a really good question we're going to answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question because remember, I didn't even do the Real Talk spiel anymore. Real Talk's an opportunity really to talk about life, God, the Bible, and everything in between, to discuss how this life fits within the context of what God says, the God of the Bible, the one true God says about life.
right.
Things are complicated. Things are weird. Things feel, sometimes it feels like there's only two paths. It's
right,
being
man.
this overly extreme. We can't talk about anything that is uncomfortable or throw all the rules out the window. Jesus is cool with everything and anything we do, peace, love, blah, blah, blah. Sin isn't real. Okay. We want to hopefully make a new, shift the paradigm that it doesn't have to be that way.
Shift the paradigm.
So that's what this show's about. So somewhere in the description, right of the podcast or the video, we're on all kinds of platforms. www.theremnant.live/real-talks, an opportunity to ask us questions from the Bible, like genuine questions you might have about Christianity, about the Bible, about your faith. And we will discuss them and we'll get you an answer. And I'm going to be honest with you. I usually say we can't promise to have the right answer. I'm going to be honest. I think we'll have a good answer for you. And so don't be afraid to ask those questions. Maybe you're afraid to ask your pastor because it's uncomfortable. And we get that. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to talk about certain things. But
Sure.
It doesn't mean you don't have them. And we live by this creed. The reality is, in the absence of information, someone's going to tell you an answer. And we'd rather you be an answer that's biblically based, meaning from the Bible, the truth. So even if you're not a Christian listening, you want to know what the Bible says, you can make an informed decision about your faith.
That's right.
And not just some guy who says that's in there and it's not in there, or some gal or whatever.
That's right.
So anyway, you can also give us a topic. It is anonymous, guys. We can't find you if we tried.
Nope.
But also, we want to talk about the things that are going on today.
Yeah, man.
And give you our perspective, right, wrong, or in between. So, because guess what? We know that you are thinking about these things. You should be. You should be thinking about these things and how it fits in your life, your faith, your worldview, and that's what this show really kind of came around from.
That's right, man.
So,
It's a life show.
yeah, Logan Paul, bring us on. I'm going to bring all these guys up. Get us. We'll go to Cali.
I'm in. As long as
You
you
can
pay
come
for
here to
tickets.
Indiana. You're from Ohio, man. Go visit family and then drive right over.
It's true, man.
Anyway,
We'll meet you halfway.
the reason I brought that up is I feel like we're sort of like the Christian mirrored version of that show.
Of
His show.
Impulsive.
Yeah. We talk about things that are going on.
Yeah. I like that comparison. We're just talking when we're not as
Yeah, man. We're
Nice.
not talking to you about our sex life.
Exactly.
Though we
Exactly.
would. Right? I mean, we would if we got asked questions about sex and our views of that and stuff. But we're not
Exactly.
talking about like random. We're not getting drunk on the show. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I think he's in Puerto Rico right now. So
Nice.
don't watch that show. The worst. So if you don't know who that is, that's okay. Hey, also, I'll box you, Jake Paul. I'll box you tomorrow. I will
Nice.
street fight you tomorrow.
I love it.
He's going around challenging folks.
Yeah, man.
Call me the pudgy pastor, but I'll call what you want.
Pudgy pastor.
I'll fight you right now, man.
Oh,
He's running
no.
around challenging folks. You know that. You don't think I'd fight him?
I know you'd fight him.
100%. We're in the same weight class.
Yeah.
He's a heavyweight. He's 200. I'm a heavyweight. Let's go at it.
That's right, man.
Anyway.
Jake Paul, we're calling you out.
Hey, man. Anyway. So, that being said, we're going to talk about some stuff. So, and really a lot of this show came from our conversations that we would have privately, and we still do. So, it was weird. We sort of both had something happen last night that ended up sort of with us talking about the same issue.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned on the show this discussion between Professor Owen Strockum. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's like Strockum or Strockum.
Strockum. It definitely, I think it ends with an M. It's just whether it's Strackum or Strockum. I really appreciate him.
Good dude.
And he did and I love this. So I am giving some free pub to this. So there's a YouTube channel called Anchored North, I believe.
Yes, that's the one.
And you go there and they bring together people from opposing views, particularly faith topics.
It's really cool.
And they debate or discuss. And so Prof. Owen, I call him that, doctor, whatever, because I feel like we're friends. He was debating with a guy who says he is a pastor that affirms LGBTQ, transsexual, I don't know what's it called. I'm getting the word. Transgender, all that stuff. And they talked about it. And honestly, both sides, I'll give them both credit. They both were very kind, loving to each other. I think respectful.
He claims to be, the other guy claims to be, he's a progressive
Christian. Which I don't believe exists. Okay, there's only Christianity.
That's right.
So anyway, they discussed it.
That's right.
And you had your own thoughts on this, right? There's a 3-part series. You can go watch it yourself.
And I think, I don't know, man. It was just really. I was very intrigued by the video, but it was also very just discomforting. It was. I don't know. I'm sure you guys have probably watched something in your life where, you're watching it and you're like, man, this is so uncomfortable, but I can't. Like, I have to keep watching. That's how it was. And the reason why.
What made it so uncomfortable?
The reason why, it made me so uncomfortable is just the response of this, this Colby guy, who is the progressive Christian pastor. It was so uncomfortable because he was just so confident in what he believes, and what he believes is just not Jesus.
And the hard part is it didn't seem to be anything.
No.
Like there was nothing that he could say he believed in.
That's right.
And that was hard to listen to because you're trying to get a grasp on what this guy thinks. I remember his statement saying, that's the kind of God I can worship. That's the kind of God I can get behind, or something to that effect. And that's not an exact quote. You can watch it yourself. But you just get this idea, and it's very clear. I think one of everything seemed to revolve around feeling.
That's right. Yes, that's what I was going to bring up too.
Yeah.
It was all about feelings. It was, what if they felt this way? Or I feel like, a God that made everything, why would he not love all of his children? But he did it in the way, like, the context was, it was directly I guess, for lack of a better term, manipulating what the Bible says. And he even went as far as to say that he doesn't believe that there is a all
divine book
that's
that
right.
tells us what God thinks.
Exactly. So he essentially said he doesn't believe in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so that was.
But calls himself a pastor.
Yes. So it was just confusing. And if there was anybody that watched that video that like wasn't a Christian or like was say they were like very new in their faith, they would probably be very confused. Because even I was like, what? And I've been a Christian for 3 or 4 years now, and I definitely have a better grasp on what it is compared to then. And if I would have seen this video when I first became a Christian, I would have been so confused.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna tie my side of it.
Yeah.
We both were kind of looking at this stuff at the same time, and then we'll kind of look at the overarching picture if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
So that's what one thing. And we've been watching. It's a 3-part series. Maybe, hey, we can link that in the description so they can watch that video,
Yeah,
right?
I can do that.
We'll link that for you guys to take a gander at yourself because I think it's worthwhile to listen to either way.
Fun term.
Wherever you're at.
Make a note for me to link that so I don't forget.
That being said, so yesterday, and I wasn't looking for this. Anybody that's looking for me on Facebook, you'll see that I'm deactivated most of the time.
Ghost mode.
Partially because I'm going to be real with everybody. I can't control my desire to respond to
Frustration,
things,
yeah.
to respond to things
Yeah.
that people put there. It's sometimes people put crazy things as though they're reality. So for instance, sometimes people will say, I don't know, up is down. And they're like, up is clearly down. And if you don't believe it, you hate people. Yeah. And I'm going, and I literally sit there and I'm like, what?
Yep.
And it's irrational. And then you go, hey, just a quick point here. Up is not down. That is impossible.
Yep.
And then they go, yeah, well, you're an idiot. And then they go crazy. And,
Yep.
and so there's two things here. One, there's the Christian side of me, and it's like, well, I want to love you. And then there's the old me who wants to drive to your house and grab you by your, and punch you in the face. Like
right.
some of these, because I remember getting attacked one time when I was in a discussion. Anyway, point is, that's an area that I need to grow in, and I don't feel strong enough to necessarily just stay, to not respond sometimes. And I need to. Like, not every battle is mine to fight.
Right.
Proverbially. But anyway, I was on Facebook late last night, and we were kind of checking stuff and doing our, planning. I don't think Fun Turn, this will be interesting for you because you were gone at the time. He was, Fun Turn had a long day yesterday. He was working.
Yep.
He ended up going to the gym. He was grinding.
Oh, yeah.
Came back, et cetera. He's here today. So you weren't here for this. So it'll be good for you to get your thoughts. So I'm going through, and at the bottom where it has suggested friends.
That's right. Yep.
And I see a picture of a person. And I looked at the name, and I didn't recognize the name. You know how in your mind, like when I think Clint, I don't want to say his last name, I guess. When I think Fun Turn Clint, and
Yes.
I say his name, I see a picture of him in my head, right?
Right.
Like I can look at him. My mind was struggling because I'm like, I recognized this name, but it's like, you know what I mean? I wasn't real close to this guy, but we went to college at the same place. And I'm just going to be real with you. You think I should say the college? I think, is that
I don't
wrong?
think there's anything wrong with it, man.
I'm giving
being honest
opinion
with
here.
you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything
So
wrong
I
with
went
it.
to
Go for
Grace. That's too late. I went to Grace College here in Indiana.
That's right.
Okay. I say this a lot. It's a small Christian school. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Had zero to, I don't know how I ended up there. That's a whole nother story. Maybe that'd be cool to tell everybody. I don't know how I ended up there, but I did. It certainly wasn't the place I wanted to go. They don't have a football team. My journey was crazy. God used it in my life. I met a lot of cool people there. I met a lot of cool professors that made me think. And I met people that, met one of my best friends for life there. Okay?
That's right.
Very, very thankful. Would not be here. Honest to God, I wouldn't be here today doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for the school. So I want to say all those positive things.
Absolutely.
That being said, it's important for you to understand that. I don't want to ramble. Am I keeping your interest here, Fun Turn, or is this going to lose people? Should I just cut to the chase?
Keep going.
Trying to set the stage here.
Yep. I think you're doing a great job.
Okay, does that make sense?
I'm with you.
So what happened was this. So that's the background. So this person, this name in this picture that didn't go together, I clicked it because I was like, I always want to see the mutual friends because that kind of helps me remember.
That's right.
And the picture looked faintly familiar. The picture was very clearly a man who was now proclaiming to be a woman. Is it transgender woman when you're a guy going to a girl? Right? That's correct. And if you're
It's
going
just transgendered across the board.
okay, well, I'm pretty sure they said I am a transgender woman at one point.
Yeah, that means that
That means you're going to a woman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went there, I clicked it, and I went through the pictures, and I stopped, and I looked at AJ, and I said, bro, you're not going to believe this.
I remember.
And I showed him the guy that I knew. And I knew this guy. And this guy was, Christian college is weird, man, a little bit. He was in the sense of like, I think he was well-liked. I think he had friends. I saw him around campus. I saw this guy around campus, many times. I think he was involved, pretty involved.
Yeah.
I think he has kids. I don't quote me on this. And I'm not real close to this person, so I want to say that now.
Yeah.
And if he is listening, because this person is listening, I am not mean to offend you.
Right.
It's more of like what I started to think about. So this person went to Christian college, graduated. So I flipped I flip back. I show you the pictures.
I remember. Yep.
Masculine, pretty masculine guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty good looking guy. Right?
I agree.
Yeah. Had pictures with either his kids or his nieces. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he was in a relationship when we were there. Like one of those people that came in and then were in the relationship the whole college.
Right.
I think. So I go down and it says, I am a transgender woman.
Yep.
And I'm coming out, and it took all this, and it had a kind of a full body picture, and it took a long time in my journey, and blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
You know, that's cool. Like, not cool that you want to put that out there, put that out there. So I look, and it's got 50 likes.
Yeah, I think it's like 50 or 60 or something like that.
59, actually,
Yeah.
I think. Whatever. So I go through, and the reason I'm setting this up is to let you guys know. So I go through, and I start reading the comments. And I might cry right now. You think I'm kidding. And I stumbled across a professor who I tell stories about. And I was mad at Grace College about this guy leaving for a while because the rumor was he was fired.
Yeah.
So I had professors in my, people don't think old Toddy was educated. I have a degree. I'm halfway through my seminary degree, and I had him in, I believe, I had him both in my undergrad for a class and in one of my seminary classes.
Mm-hmm.
Loved him. He pushed thinking. He said things in a shocking way to get you to think. I really liked him. I took a class called Culture and Literature of the Old Testament world. So it's kind of Eastern, ancient Eastern. It's really interesting stuff. And how that kind of, what was the culture of the biblical authors, right, in the Middle East. It was great class. So I had some bitterness towards Grace College when he left because I'm like, you literally lost. I'm not going to be cocky here and say that mean to be, but I'm going to be honest. There are professors that are brilliant, and then there are professors that are people who are just teaching material.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's brilliant. Okay, and you know me. I don't say that a ton.
No.
Brilliant guy. And he put on there, he wrote a comment that said, that's courage, blah, blah, blah. That's courage. And my heart hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went down and this person responded that is transgender and said, I had you in class. Thank you for giving me the courage to think which he did do this, to think about what I believe, blah, blah, blah. And then I looked at somebody liked that comment, and that liked comment from this person is in leadership, is a direct, he is a dean of something at Grace College now.
Mm-hmm. Presently. Yep. They are there.
And then I went through and I counted up the comments and the likes, and I see all these people that were in, and I'm putting air quotations for this on the podcast. They were hip and cool, part of the Grace, and I was not. I was just kind of I felt like I was viewed as kind of this just bad boy demon man.
Yeah, you said outcast.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, right? At first. By the end of it, that's not what happened.
Right.
Cream rise to the top, I believe that. I had friends, but at least the culture, because I did, me, I'm not going to just accept the brand of Christianity you give me if it's not biblical. And I push back on a lot of things, like I do now, right or wrong. So anyway, I'm seeing all this stuff and all these people that were in, and bro, I told you, man, it messed with me. You saw it.
I did.
I can't I almost got, this is going to sound so dramatic, but it's the truth. I got dizzy. You remember me saying that?
I do remember.
This is shaking my worldview right now. Because even though I didn't necessarily like my college and enjoy it, I thought it stood for something. And I think that there is room in a Christian college, just like there is at a church, for dissenting voices, for disagreements, for discussions about things that are secondary issues, for different voices. That's how we learn. But then there's something that's called the complete rejection, in my opinion, of the truth.
And this is it.
There's nothing wrong with loving this person. There's nothing wrong with even the comment, even of like, because at first I tried to make excuses. I didn't tell you this part. I was like,
justify in your mind.
Maybe this professor, the one I loved, even maybe he was just saying that's courageous. Because to be honest with you, even I can say, whether right or wrong, it takes a weird courage. It takes courage to do that.
Sure.
Right? I mean, it's like me going out and being naked on the thing. It takes courage to do that. So I was like, maybe he's just trying to love this person, saying, hey, you know what? Right or wrong, it takes courage to say what you're doing right now.
Right.
But then I saw he liked the original post that said, I'm a transgender woman. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, what? Because to me, again, guys, for a second of this discussion, if you're listening, before you jump me and hate me, put aside transgender. Let's focus on just the crux, the foundation of our faith. which is the Bible.
That's right.
Out of 59 people, and this is just the ones that I knew, there were certainly more Grace people I didn't. Out of the 59 people that had liked the original comment, 12 of them I knew directly from Grace College and were considered leaders, liked Christians, et cetera. Not counting the person who posted it.
Right.
12 out of 59.
It's a pretty high percentage.
I didn't even tell you this. So then I started clicking on some of their profiles, these
Just
12.
kinda, yeah.
And I'm seeing people that just have embraced
The world.
the world.
Yeah.
And
Embrace the world.
I sit here, man. And so when you mix that with what you said, with what we watched
The video.
Professor Owen and Colby kind of debating, I am still messed up because I've said this before, those that know me, and I'm going to say it again. Sometimes in my faith, I feel like that I am believing in something that everyone else thinks is a joke. And we've talked about it, and you reminded me again, it's like the Truman Show. Like, I'm living this thing because I think it's real. And a lot of the people around me are doing it, but they're like, well, clearly this isn't real, but they're playing it. And I'm the only one that's out of the loop.
Yep.
Does that make sense? I'm the only one that doesn't know this is a game.
You're not in on it.
And that messed with me, man. And it messed, I told you this night, I mean, it shook my faith a little because I'm like, what? Does anyone believe this? And what do I mean by believe it? Guys, listen, bottom line, right or wrong, you don't hear me getting on a stage and even debating with someone who is not a Christian that's saying this is the way to live. I'm not going to, there's no point. Unless you say, like, it's good for you and we're debating that because, I can make an argument. I'm not because, hey, you do have the right to choose what you want. It is your life. You can choose to live how you want to live it. But when you claim the name of Jesus, when you say Christian, take out my own faith. This is, if Todd wasn't a Christian and you told me you were a Christian and you don't believe and you're throwing parts out you don't like and you are saying that the Bible isn't trustworthy, that is so illogical that I can't fathom it. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is like saying that a dog is a cat. Because I'm a Christian who doesn't believe that the Bible is real or that it was mistranslated. What? So let me tell you what you're actually saying when you're throwing out the Bible. When you throw out the parts that aren't comfortable. What you're saying is that you like the concept of Jesus who tells you that you're good enough, who affirms everything about you, who says to love your neighbor, to treat people well, all those things which are good. You like him. But you reject the parts that are hard for you to accept, or the parts that take death of you. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So if you're a non-Christian, you're listening to this for the first time, you're probably mad at me already. But let me tell you something. Again, throw aside whether you think I'm right or wrong. I've always told you, I can respect an atheist, a non-Christian, whatever, if they have, wants to make a logical argument for, why would they ever think you want to be a homosexual, practice homosexuality, or you want to be transgender? Of course they'd say, if I wasn't, I'd be like, yeah, do whatever you want. Because if it's based on, if morality, if there is no boundary, then why do I care what you do with your life? It doesn't directly affect me. The problem is, if you claim to be a Christian, you're saying there is a boundary. Exactly. You're saying there is a moral right and wrong.
Yes.
That is based on what? It can't be based on your feeling, or you're literally, we talked about this last week, it's insanity. You're worshiping a made-up God that you have slapped the name Jesus on. So take out whether you are a Christian, Todd the Christian. This is Todd the logical person. Why are you, if you're listening to this, and maybe we'll get attacked, or when I see that kind of stuff, why can't you just throw it all out and say, I'm not a Christian?
Yeah, I don't, exactly. Why?
That's the part I can't fathom. Why are you trying to cling to some sort of shred of this identity and change it and say night is day and day is night? You can't. It's incompatible.
That's right.
And and I'm getting fired up because, guys, it's messing with me.
Yes.
You and I, Fun Turn, this entire church is built around the idea that God's grace is for everyone. And it is. That God's mercy is for everyone through Christ. That, yes, through Christ we can be saved from the consequences of our sin. that that one sin is not greater than another in the idea that they all fall short of the glory of God, that we are all doomed without Jesus. I have said it and I'll say it here. I'm going to make the other side mad. You can be someone that struggles with transgenderism, the desire to be the other gender. You can struggle with a feeling of homosexuality. You can struggle with pornography and adultery. I'm not saying it's okay, but I believe that you are in that battle. And if anyone tells you that you can't be and still love Jesus, you are a liar. They are a liar. But there is a very subtle difference that I'm sorry to ramble and preach, but I want this because I feel like if I don't throw this out, it's going to sound crazy. But there is a difference between saying that broken people can struggle with brokenness and still follow the Savior.
That's right.
There's a difference between that and saying that Jesus was wrong and saying that God is wrong and creating this weird, ugly patchwork God that is made of parts of the page we like and parts of the page we don't. He doesn't give you that option.
Nope.
So I would, as a person, respect you more, and I will love you regardless. Listen, if you're listening right now, I will love you. If you're a transgender person and you don't claim the name of Jesus, I will love you. And honestly, we'll probably never talk about it because you've chosen to do that. Okay, you're right. And I would defend you. And let me tell you something. I would die for you. You don't believe that. If you're getting beat up by a group of men, I will be that guy that's there. I promise you, I will be there. And anybody that knows me well, you guys doubt that? No, I would do it.
I don't doubt that at all.
Here's where the problem is. If you are a self-professing Christian and you tell me that, I have a problem with you because you are lying.
Yep.
And I am more upset, not with the person, even who's struggling with this, because I don't know where to be fair, this person didn't bring up Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I was more just shocked because they went to great. You're always shocked when that comes out.
Right.
I'm less disappointed with that. I'm not even disappointed. I don't know where this person's at. And to their credit, they didn't even make that the focus of their post. But my professor that I loved and respected, you were an authority in the eyes of people. And from last I heard, he still taught at a Christian college just up in Minnesota. This RD, if you ever, I am so mad at you because you are cowardly because you are not willing to say truth is truth because the world's going to tell you that if you don't affirm their truth, you're hating them.
Yep.
And because you don't want to be called a hater,
don't want to deal with it.
You're not going to call truth. And what do I mean by truth in this case? I'm a Christian, and you claim to be at one time. You were claiming the Bible is our authority. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it shook me up, man. So, and it's that classic. You made a comment yesterday that was really, I didn't even tell you. It was impactful. You said, because I'm kind of like, I don't know what's happening. And you said, man, like I feel like it's just going to get worse. And it is, right? And like we're going to have to deal with that.
Yep.
Because we are not your typical, even conservative. You have tattoos. Mm-hmm. I am a horrible sinner that's done dumb things. I say things crudely sometimes. I'm competitive. I'm not going to be fake. I don't wear ties every week. I'm not a hipster. Okay? Yep. But yet I make no mistake, though my outward appearance, and I believe God judges the heart, and I don't, you want to have peers. I'm not that kind of guy that, God does. Make no mistake. I will take my stand on the truth of the Bible. And so it's just an odd place to be, man. I'm hurt. If I'm honest, I'm hurt. I'm hurt and I'm mad at those two guys. And one of them I loved dearly.
Yes. And if you're a Christian, you should be hurt by this. Like, the Bible is a hill that you should be more than willing to die on.
It has to be.
And if you're not, why are you Christian? It doesn't make sense. Like
just
you said,
say you're not.
It's a false reality. It's like you said. It's like looking at a dog and calling it a cat. Like it doesn't make any sense. And if anything,
meaning you're saying something that is objectively not true.
Exactly.
Right? Like you cannot be a Christian that does not believe the Bible is the Word of God.
And you know what the crazy part is?
Sorry, you can't.
Honestly, I'm looking at the church with a capital C going, we have responsibility for this. When you have a guy like Colby Martin walking around, claiming to be a progressive Christian pastor, Do you want to know why he's able to? It's because we're not willing to stand up and say anything.
And people walk in his doors.
Exactly. It's because we're not standing up for what we believe in.
What does standing up mean? So we're very clear. Does that mean we go picket LGBTQ parades? No, that's so dumb.
Yes.
Okay, so let me be clear. That's dumb. We're not saying hate people. We're
No.
someone very close to me, you know this, struggles with this. Very, very
Yes.
close to me. Okay. I know how confusing it can be. But my goodness, we're not saying picket, but gosh darn it. Truth is truth. You know?
Yes. You cannot ignore the truth to make yourself comfortable.
Or to make someone else comfortable.
Yep.
You know, thinking about a lot of things when I hear this, and I am also disappointed, and it just keeps popping into my mind. The way is narrow. But I also look at these churches and I go, okay, church. And I've had my just things where I get angry at the church with a capital C. And I look and I go, church leaders, you've been called. You lead flocks. You are held to a higher standard. Whether you want to hear that or not, you are held to a higher standard. If he is for you, then who is against you? They said you were going to hate. They said the world would hate you for what you preach, for the truth. Jesus said that to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus said that to all of us. So if we're going to pretend that the Bible isn't real, then why are we? Then why are you following?
I know, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Honestly,
It is
it's because...
all true or it is not true.
Do you want to know
period.
why a guy like Colby Martin wants to be considered a Christian, a progressive Christian pastor? Is because Christianity has its social advantages. I can see that. It goes back to the whole social club idea.
Yep.
Change it for what you want it to be, and since no one's going to call me out for changing it for what it really is, I still get the benefits of what a Christian is socially.
Yeah, and let me be clear, because everybody tries to make that we're saying this is even about transgender LGBTQ. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, TBQ, whatever. I didn't mean to I just don't know. Here, let me give you an example. That's not the point. The point is people who claim to be Christians who are not Christians and are leading people astray, and they're saying truth is lies and lies are truth. Let me give you an example. I told him this before we went on. I said, this is the same thing as AJ coming to me, let's say he was married. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, Todd, I slept with 10 women last night, and I think it's okay because God accepts me as a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's saying. Why? Well, Todd, what's the comparison? The comparison is the Bible very clearly says adultery is sin, right?
Yep.
We know this.
That is correct.
Now, that's the same thing, okay? As saying, God, it's okay whatever you do. You know, God's okay because God very clearly says, you may not like this, and I'm not going to debate this with you. If you're this person that says it doesn't say this, go find another forum. You are being ignorant. Again, I'd rather you just don't try to change what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Homosexuality is listed with sexual immorality as sins that lead, that you will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Bottom line, including, and it does talk about men dressing up as women. The church in Corinth was dealing with that.
That's
the
right.
temple prostitutes, a lot of times they have men dressed as women have sex with people. It's very clear throughout the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, that is wrong. Bottom line. So that's the same thing, okay? Because you're throwing out blunt truth. Now here's what we could accept and what wouldn't make me mad. AJ comes and says, Todd, I've committed adultery with my wife. I've done it 3 times. I hate it. I don't know why. I'm afraid. I want to change. I want accountability. I want to be better. It's just so hard. I have an addiction, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to walk, right? That's different than saying, hey, I slept with 10 women and that's okay. I'm going to keep doing it because God affirms me because I'm a child of God. Makes sense? So, difference between saying, yep, I'm transgender and God loves all his children, or like transgender people, God loves all his children, so they're allowed to do that. And how dare you say not? Versus, I believe that you have these feelings. I believe that these are real desires in your heart. Okay, I'm going to walk with you. Okay, because, and let's first off, again, I believe Christians can struggle with that. If not, why would God put it in the list of things that you have to reject and fight against? So I've never said that.
You wouldn't have. Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that's like, they're choosing to have this desire and bull. Listen, we are all broken and sinful, and it shows, sexual immorality shows itself in the perversion. Perversion is any kind of sexual activity outside of the God. Listen, I've been a sexual pervert because I've done things sexually before I was married, right, with women, which is a perversion of sexual immorality. It is a perversion of God's design for
That's
marriage,
right.
for sex. So, like, I'm willing to say it, okay? I'm willing to say that I struggle with lust and it's wrong. There's a difference.
Yep.
And I can't stand the fact that we have Christian leaders. And the truth is, man, this RD, if he's watching, you can call me. You know who you are. Him and I, like, I wouldn't say we didn't like each other, but like I didn't fit his mold, and honestly, I didn't have a ton. I thought he was soft, for lack of a better word, meaning not willing to stand for things, and the truth is, man, like, how dare you? You have a responsibility, and then it goes, well, okay, well, how deep does it go? Because he is high up. I'm telling you right now, this guy, at least he is high up there. You tell me his boss doesn't know? So then if his boss knows, does the president know of the school?
Right.
Does the board? Mm-hmm. You can love someone and affirm their value as a human being without affirming their viewpoint.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that's exactly what.
And unfortunately, you
Prof.
have a
Owen was talking
responsibility.
about.
Yeah. And again, I love all people. No one believes that, man, but I do. You know me. Tell me right or wrong. You guys think I love people and
absolutely.
that I mean it. If I met, one of the most powerful moments I ever had in my life that I cling to, and if he's listening, we had a homosexual. I didn't know he was. Had my inklings. Came to our church a few times early on. And he kept coming, and he was practicing. He asked me to pray with him. He called me in the back and said, he goes, would you pray with me? Because I'm hurting so bad because my family hates me because of this. And guess what? I made the focus the hurt he was feeling from his family hating him, right? He felt that way, and we prayed about that. But you know what I didn't? But you know what I also did? I prayed that to him and with him. I was like, I pray that God would open his eyes to, to his truth and his value and the path he wants them to break. And the guy ended up telling somebody else that on his way home, he pulled over on the side of the road and bawled because he hadn't felt loved like that. Okay? And I'm not saying that to my own horn. I'm saying we can love people.
Yes.
And tell them the truth. Right? Or at least not. Because there is a time and place. I don't need to, for instance, I'm not going to get on there if I was friends with that guy and post on his picture and be like, you're going to hell. Like, that's not what's sending you to hell. Mm-hmm. The reality is being a transgender isn't sending you to hell. Right? That's the people don't like hearing that. Mm-hmm. Sin sends you to hell. The only way you're not going to hell, including me and you, I read a quote the other day that said, some pastor said this, and I thought it was very well put. Although the person that posted it twisted it and tried to make it like he wasn't saying what he's saying. They said, homosexuality doesn't send someone to hell any more than being a heterosexual sends them to heaven. The point being, they tried to go, yeah, eat that, you gay bashing people. That's not what that means. And I guarantee you what the pastor was saying was the point is Jesus.
That's right. You need Jesus.
You need, even if someone could be, you can't be good enough without Jesus. So I don't know. Maybe this went too far and too long, but
no, man, I love it.
It's tough, man.
Yes, and like you said, it is shattering. Exactly, it hurts, and like, I myself, I know we were talking last night, and I'm even willing to admit that I have my moments where I know that, man, like I am weak and I don't do things when I should, but I know at the end of the day what I believe, and I know that. I guess it just blows my mind. It's so hard to put into words. I think you've done such a good job throughout this putting it into words. No, man, I think you've done a great job because even when I try to think of what to say about it, it's so like my head is just spinning because how even in my flaws and my weaknesses and my continual failures at things that I'm trying to get better at, I can still confidently look at the foundation of my faith and I can go, I know that the Bible is 100% correct. It's real. This is life right here. This is breathing word from God. I know that. And I know that Jesus came to save us and that that's the only way to heaven is through Jesus. Amen. I know that. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter, how far away I could fall away from God, running away from him. I know that. And so for someone to just full on accept something other than that, but still claim to be a Christian, it does hurt because I'm like, you don't get it. It makes me sad
and angry.
It makes me sad because I go, people are just wandering on this road thinking it's to the throne. It's not.
And there's people along the way pointing them that way like it is.
Yes.
Reminds me of Pilgrim's Progress. If you ever read that book.
I need to read that book.
Where
man.
there's a road where that happens, right? Keep going this way. And you meet different people that tell you this is the way to life. Or try to get you to not keep walking the path to life. And it's pretty powerful. Bottom line, I think as we kind of wrap this part up.
Yeah.
If you're a Christian, you should be upset. You should. That this is happening. And we need to take a stand for truth, not against. It's not even about LGBTQ. It could be like if someone was saying the same thing about adultery or murder, like we'd say the same thing. Or the other side, we're saying that, people, if they mess up, that God hates you immediately. We should stand up for that too, right?
That's
Which is part of what our church is built around. Like, we're not going to stand for that kind of false religion that tries to make it Jesus plus something.
That's right.
It's not. So, right? That's one. But also, so you'd be frustrated if you're a rational thinking human being. I've told you this before. I know atheists, deists, agnostics who are very smart and who are truly trying to find the truth, and they have very good arguments. You people, those in that camp, the intelligent ones that think and that want to seek truth, you should be upset because that is such a poor, illogical thing.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like it's even not even good thinking, in my opinion. So
I agree.
It is what it is. So that's that, guys. Man, just think about what you believe and have the courage to stand for what you believe and have the courage to not try to change something to fit what you believe. If you're going to say you believe something, then accept the ramifications of that. If you say, I can't believe in this God, or I'm not going to believe in Jesus, of the Bible, then walk away from the camp. Quit trying to redefine the camp. Quit trying to move it to a different place. It is what it is. Jesus doesn't give that option. And you're right. Well, Jesus is love. He is love. But he loves you enough to tell you the truth.
That's right.
So, and we should too. Anyway, what's our question?
So, the question we got for you guys today is...
This came right from our database.
Right from the database. What are your thoughts on numbers 5, 11 to 21? I saw a post on Facebook saying that numbers 5:21 are instructions on how to correctly perform an abortion. Is that true?
No. I could read it to you, but guys, just look it up. It is a weird little section. I'm going to tell you how I do this. This is for everybody, believers, if you were kind of confused and you read this. First thing I did is if you hear this, is read that section. I told you this before we got on. The first thing I did when I read that section was like, what is the context of this? Because you're right. If I read it by itself, I'm like, that sounds weird.
Context is important.
So I read the entire chapter. This is from the Old Testament, an Old Testament ritual or law called the jealousy ritual. It's very, not mentioned a lot. Essentially, it was if a husband, believed his wife was committing adultery. She would go to the temple, she would be ritually cleansed and all these things. Then she would drink this concoction. Yeah. And this concoction wasn't poison, and it says now I will give people credit. Some early versions, particularly the NIV, did mistranslate this, I think, and they changed it in later versions. And it said miscarriage. Yeah. Well, the section actually reads the womb or the thigh would shrivel and the belly would swell. Thigh is a euphemism for reproductive organ, for the woman's reproductive organ. Okay. So what it was saying was, and then what it was saying at the end of this was, if you're committing adultery and you're lying about it, God may very well punish you with barrenness, meaning you may never have a baby. Yeah. Okay. Now that's still hard to swallow. Oh, absolutely. But it's not saying lose the baby, though it could, right? There's consequences for things. So that had nothing to do with it. It was describing a ritual and describing like the heart of it being, because as we know in Old Testament law, adultery, you were killed. You were stoned for adultery, which, by the way, is still the way God views it. The price for adultery is death, right? However, Jesus fulfilled that so that we never have to face that. So even if you've done that in your life, you have grace, forgiveness, renewal in Jesus, and the punishment, the price has already been paid through his sacrifice on the cross. That's right, man. So, no, it doesn't mean that at all. And that, you got to be careful when you read little weird snippets from people or just parts and go back and read the whole section. That isn't what it was saying. So it was essentially a warning. Hey, we're going to bring this girl in here. We are going to do this. They did do this. drink this thing, and it's pretty much like, hey, if you're lying, God's gonna curse you,
Yep.
right? And it may be in barrenness, right? So yeah, they made him drink some weird thing. It's still hard to swallow. It's a weird section,
Yeah,
right?
man.
But it was not. It did not say how to perform an abortion. It was not
Yeah.
even about abortion. That's not even what the section was about.
Mm-hmm.
The section was about adultery and that, God's judgment on adultery.
That's right. The consequence.
In fact, there's no evidence that the woman as they describe it is even pregnant. It's more saying, because remember back then having a child is a big deal. Like it's an honor. Like a woman doesn't want to be barren because then she doesn't have much use in Old Testament world, which by the way, Jesus has changed too, right? He affirmed
Absolutely.
But so it's saying, hey, you better get right, or God may judge you. Even if you fool man, you may be judged by never being able to have a child. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Is that clear? Fun turn? Biggest thing you take from that is read context.
That's right.
Read the Bible. Quit just assuming because someone posts something on social media that's what it actually says or means.
Mm-hmm.
Another issue
That's
I had
right.
with Colby is he never said anything from the Bible. He just kept like referencing things
Yep.
without using the Bible at all.
Yeah, it was really odd.
So I'm sure this may be one of those episodes where we get censored. But let me wrap up by saying this as we close up, and I'll let you kind of actually close the show.
Sure.
If you are someone out there, let's say you're not Christian, and you are a transgendered person, hey, I'm looking at you right in your face if you're watching a video or you're hearing. We love you. I love you. And honestly, if you and I sit down and talk, if I'm uncomfortable a little bit, it's just because I'm uncomfortable with it in general. That's Todd. But I'm going to sit here and I would love to talk to you and hear your story in your life. And I am going to tell you about a guy named Jesus because you got to know him before you handle any of the rest.
That's right.
And I want you to know that. I don't hate you. I would fight for you, as I mentioned before. But, I'm also love you enough to be honest with you that God's word is clear and what God wants for us is best. And I'm also going to sit here and say, hey, I'm not sitting on my high horse because I struggle in my own ways. And if both sides of the aisle, if you're one of those Christians that wants to hate them for that and tries to think that if I can get them to stop being that way, that'll save them. No, you need to. They can't even. There's no way they're going to be able to change without the Holy Spirit. So what's the point of starting there, right? It's trying to tell someone to run when they don't know how to run yet.
That's right.
2, if you're a person that claims to be a Christian leader, and I said claims to be, and you are diluting truth to make people comfortable because you get it, you're higher education, and you understand, whereas the peons of the world don't. Boy, you make me frustrated and sad, and you need to, have a backbone and believe something. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, love you still too.
So, guys, share this episode, talk about, just give us a little blurb as to why you liked it, comment in this comment section below wherever you're at, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. Give us a Rumble. Subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. I think I already said share. And yeah, we're in such a critical time, and I mean that. And what I mean by that is people are dying. That's one of our things we try to say as much as we can because it's true. People, a big part of this episode today was people are thinking that they believe in something that they believe to be the truth when it's not. And it's up to us, the church with the capital C, it's up to you guys to spread the gospel, spread the truth any way possible. And this is one of them, through social media. So if you guys would please partner with us and be a part of this ministry of sharing real talk and letting people know the truth. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us.
I'm completely with him in that in every way. Love you. Thank you so much. Love you, Fun Turn. Thanks for your thoughts, AJ, as usual. Love you, man.
Love
if
you
you're
too.
listening, hey, we're open to dialogue.
Yes.
Don't be hateful. I will literally talk and debate with anyone, but if you're hateful and trying to attack me, 2 reasons why I won't answer that. One is I'm being honest. I'm not sanctified enough yet not to argue and battle you back. I'm really not. And I think it would devolve very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a person out there that you have legit questions, thoughts, you want to write in the comments below, we will see those and interact. If you don't, you want to have a dialogue privately, you can use the link at www.theremnant.life/real-talk. You can even drop your email or something in there.
Yeah.
And hey, I'll have a dialogue with you through email. Even. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's good.
Hey, I will say one thing for everyone out there. God does love you.
Amen.
And God went a long way to bring you home. He loves you right where you're at, right in this moment. You don't need to get cleaned up first, get it figured out first, any of those things. He loves you right now. But he also loves you too much to leave you there. That's the end of it. Hey, I hope you have a great, great, great day. I would just bash my face on this. But we hope you have a great, great day. And yeah, give it a like, share, comment. God bless you.